I used to think a stable marriage sounded quiet because it was healthy. In our house, quiet meant meals eaten without phones but also without questions. It meant schedules aligned so neatly there was no room for friction. It meant I learned which topics were safe, and which ones required a softer voice, or better, no voice at all. His best friend had always lived in that second category. She'd been there before me. That was the story, anyway. College friends. Long nights studying, inside jokes that never quite translated. I accepted her presence the way you accept weather, occasionally unpleasant. Mostly out of your control. When she commented on my clothes, my cooking, my timing, I told myself she didn't mean it the way it landed. The night everything cracked was supposed to be easy. A small dinner. Familiar faces. She arrived late, breezing in with an apology that was half charm, half entitlement, and immediately began directing the room. Where people should sit. What music would be better. How the conversation should go. When she corrected me, again about a story I was telling, something in me stopped yielding. That's not what happened, I said. Calmly, clearly. No edge. Just truth. The room went still, the way it does when someone breaks an unspoken rule. She laughed, light and practiced. Well, that's not how I remember it. I was there, I said. So were you. No one defended me. No one laughed it off. The conversation stumbled forward without resolution. But the damage was already done. At home, he didn't ask what I'd meant. He told me what I'd done. You embarrassed her, he said, jaw tight, pacing the kitchen like he was containing something volatile. I corrected her. I said. She didn't deserve that. Something in his tone, protective, sharp, made my stomach drop. And I did. He stopped pacing. Looked at me like I was suddenly unfamiliar. You need to apologize. I waited for the sentence to soften. For a suggestion, a compromise. It didn't come. I said. The word surprised both of us. His hand came down hard on the counter. Not close to me. Not aimed. But violent enough to erase the air. Apologize, he shouted, or I'll leave. The silence afterward felt enormous. Like a door had been slammed inside my chest. I understood then that this wasn't about her feelings. It was about hierarchy. About me knowing my place and choosing it willingly. Okay, I said. The relief on his face was immediate and absolute. He kissed my forehead like this was resolved. Like obedience had restored balance. I drove to her house the next afternoon alone. I noticed details I'd never registered before. How my hands didn't shake. How the radio stayed off. How calm can feel heavier than anger. She opened the door smiling, already triumphant. She gestured me in like a hostess receiving a late guest. I'm glad you came, she said. I knew you'd realize. I didn't come to apologize, I said. Her smile froze. I came to tell you that correcting you wasn't an attack. I continued, my voice didn't rise. I didn't rush. It was me refusing to disappear in my own life. She crossed her arms, defensive now. You were rude, maybe, I said, but I wasn't wrong. And I won't pretend I was to keep things comfortable. She scoffed, searching for an opening to reclaim control. You know he'll always choose me. I nodded. That's possible. That unsettled her more than arguing would have. I wasn't there to win. I was there to be finished. I'm not asking for your approval, I said. I'm letting you know I see the dynamic clearly now. And I won't participate in it anymore. I stood. She didn't stop me. On the drive home, I felt something unfamiliar, grief without panic. Acceptance without collapse. That evening, he didn't yell. He didn't need to. He packed a bag with careful, deliberate movements, as if proving a point through restraint. I told you what would happen, he said. I know, I replied. 2 days later, the email arrived. Formal. Precise. A legal notice outlining separation toward initiated, confident I'd scramble. Apologize properly this time. Instead, I read it slowly. I called a lawyer. I responded once. Authority entered my life quietly, like a lock clicking into place. Accounts were separated, access redefined. His certainty met structure, and structure doesn't bend for threats. When he called, his voice was different. Not loud. Unsteady. I didn't think you'd take it this far. I didn't either, I said honestly. The aftermath wasn't clean. There were moments I missed the version of us that functioned, even if it cost me something. There were nights I wondered if silence would have been easier. But ease isn't the same as peace. Months later, I ran into her at a grocery store. We nodded. The world didn't tilt. What changed wasn't my volume. It was my posture. I no longer apologized to preserve someone else's comfort at the expense of my own reality. I no longer mistake quiet compliance for love. Integrity didn't save my marriage, it saved me.